of people on here and a lot of time zones covered. We also have a lot of people that are watching Facebook Live now too. We figured out at the same time. Welcome everybody to the 12:30 Big Joel Community Call, 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 Pacific, 10:30 Mountain, and 11:30 Central. I'm fairly certain we have every time zone accounted for here. Hey Keith, hey Spencer. By the way, you turn your camera on, I'll say hi. You don't? It's hard for me to say hi. There's Keith. Everybody, little baby housekeeping, upper right-hand corner. You've got the chat. If you have questions, you can put them in the chat. We got a really cool special guest today. You all might have some questions. If you do, we'll get to them. I've been pretty good the last, I'd say 6 weeks of holding these calls to 30 minutes. I think it's better that way, get you all juiced up, get you some information, and get you on your way. We've changed the format a little bit based on feedback from all of you, for me doing short interviews with great loan officers and leaders. And then we are going to have Housing Wire on once a month. And I'm going to do a loan officer interview as well when we have Housing Wire on at the same time. So the next Housing Wire is, I think, April 6th. So everybody, welcome. People are starting to get vaccinated, starting to get interesting. Certain markets, we're hearing the agents starting to whisper about listings coming on, which is interesting. Other markets are still cold as an ice cube as far as listings or inventory, still horrible. But there is a glimmer of hope. As a lot of you know that have been around for a while, the Easter Bunny normally is the harbinger of listings when people list, even though this past year and change has been really weird with COVID. Ed Brem is cracking up right now because we were talking a couple mornings ago and telling me how horrible it was. Then he turned around and proceeded to text me the same day. Yeah, someone just came in 75 over the list and didn't get it. 75,000. Not 7,500 over the list price, and still didn't get it, and just with a kind of with a smiley face. So this week we've got my friend and ass kicker Kevin O'Loughlin. O'Loughlin, I always butcher his last name. That's okay. He knows I'm going to do it, even though he's like, laugh, Joel, laugh, O'Loughlin. From the great state of Pennsylvania and the awesome city of Pittsburgh. Kevin has done extraordinary things in his, I'm going to go ahead and call it short career. It's not that long yet. It's getting medium, but I would call it short. I want to start just with some bona fides, Kevin. I think it's nice for everyone to hear. I hate these guys that just talk about volume and things like that. So I want everyone to just understand who you are. Kevin, just you need to unmute, by the way. There we go. All right. Kevin's with Movement Mortgage. He is a producing market leader. For those of you at other companies, sort of like a producing big branch manager. I see Shada. Okay, Shada, we'll get to that in a minute. Kevin, tell everyone how old you are.
I'm 29.
29. He hasn't even rounded the bend to 30 yet. And how long? When did you first start doing mortgages? How long have you been doing mortgages?
Since like 2016.
Okay, so 5 years in. I'm still going to call that new. And Kevin, just for bona fides, you're in Pittsburgh, Greater Pittsburgh. 2020, just ballpark it, units.
550, 520, something like that.
520. And how are we looking year to date? You on pace to do the same or more?
Yeah, I think we're pacing like 800.
You're pacing 800 units right now? I love it. Hung Lee, are you on here? Hung Lee, are you on here? He's coming for you. He's coming for you hard, big. He's coming for you, Hung. Sorry, that's his Southern Ninja competitor, Hung Lee at the same company. And Kevin, just give everyone a feel. What's your average loan amount up there, Pittsburgh?
It's been going up, but I think probably like haven't checked in a while, like 220, I think. Ish.
Okay, so Kevin's a grinder. Oh, look, Ullman's on. Ullman showed up to this party, Kevin. And all right, so Kevin's a grinder. So Kevin, first question that everybody just wants to hear. Tell us a little bit about. I want to get into how you built up your business, but before we do that, let's just get to the big question regarding inventory. What have you done to adjust to help your agent partners, to make it easier to get more loans. I realize almost every loan officer on here, Kevin, I mean, these guys are writing like, 40 different pre-qual letters for one person all the time. Tell us some of the things you've done to adjust to this, call it low to no inventory market. And before you answer that, is your market starting to turn a little bit? Are there more listings, or is it still icy up there?
It's still pretty short inventory. I mean, weather is just starting to break in Pittsburgh. We're seeing 60-degree temps. So I'm expecting, as we get deeper into April, we're expecting to see more listings, hopefully. So that should help. But I mean, we track the numbers very closely. So we track how many clients request estimates over the weekend before they put in an offer. And the last 2 or 3 weekends, I mean, we're talking like 15 to 20% chance that we see a contract from an estimate we write. So it's tough right now, really tough right now.
What are you doing to assist your agent partners? Anything special? Anything different? Anything game changing?
I mean, everyone's facing the same challenges. So right now, I mean, we're coming up with creative ways to always stay in front of our agents, to get the referral. But as far as like helping them win the bid, I mean, I'm trying to push everything possible. It's conventional. Obviously, government offers aren't winning, so we're educating the client. And then I think the other thing that we do a good job of is we're educating them like, hey, 10 grand over ask price is not a big deal. That changes your payment, 30, 40 bucks a month, whatever it is. So we're kind of educating the client, showing them different estimates and letting them know they're going to have to go over ask. So I think a lot of the prep work can be done on the loan officer end. So by the time I hand it back to the agent, they don't really have to sell anything. They're prepared to go over ask. And if you're not willing to do that, I mean, what are, you're not going to win. And then some other things we're doing, like if it's a real solid client, we'll have them waive their mortgage contingency. We're figuring out what contingencies we can waive, what creative stuff we can do. And we're bringing those ideas to the agent. So I think it's really important right now to be that information source for your agents on how are you going to help give them a higher percentage their offers are accepted.
So a couple of things Kevin just said in there real quick. I'm going to translate one of the things he said, and I call that pencil selling. There are a lot of loan officers out there, and there are a lot of real estate agents out there that don't know how to pencil sell. What I mean by that is they don't know how to take out a calculator and a pen and show people future value of money, present value of money, really explain to them what they're doing when they're borrowing money and when they're buying a new home. That they can't really even explain that, okay, well, yeah, you're paying this, but this is what's going on. Okay, kind of like what Kevin was saying. On a move up, it's huge that agents know how to explain that the gain they're making on their move up negates what they're paying over on their new home because of how low the rates are. And that's pencil selling, and you have to know how to do that. And if I were you, as a takeaway from this call, based on what Kevin just said, don't assume your agent partners know how to do it. Either discuss it with them or do it with them. Kevin also brought up be a source of information, BASOI. I got that drilled into me from one Patrick J. Casey. I don't know if he's on here today, and I'm not going to tell you what year, but it was a while ago. And BASOI, be a source of information all the time. The other thing Kevin said, it's interesting. I don't want to let it slip by. He used the word weekend. It amazes me how many loan officers are still playing the I need my me time because I'm so busy during the week crap. And I wanted to make sure that you heard him say that Kevin and his people are available all weekend and at night. I mean, they're available when the agents are working. So Kevin, thank you. So unless you had anything to add, I wanted to go on. So Kevin got dropped in. He's from upstate New York. Kevin, how do you pronounce where you're from? I always look it up and then can't pronounce it.
It's called Olean, New York.
Olean, New York. So he's a Buffalo Bills fan. He's got a great story. I would let him tell it, but I don't think we have enough time. Bottom line is he sent Casey Crawford to one of the partners at Movement, a LinkedIn message. Hey, I want to go to Pittsburgh and open up the market for you. I mean, just bold. Long story short, that's what he did. Blew it out. Kevin, what's your market share right now because you're the only movement group there? Where are you guys right now? It's high, right?
2020 we finished 7 in the county for purchase market share, and I think this year we're close to hiring another big LO, but we'll probably finish top 5 in Allegheny County.
So that is massive because we probably know who the top people are. It's usually a local, huge credit union, and then there's the big bad banks. They're usually up there. So that's awesome to be up there. Kevin, tell these people there's a lot of people on the phone. They're banging refis. They've never done a lot of purchases. By the way, everyone, Kevin is a purchase guy. That's why we're friends. He's a purchase person. He understands that his job is to get referrals, that doing the loan is the ancillary part. Kevin, give us some little tips, things people can take away. I know you're a master with Instagram. I know you pound social media, but by the way, he doesn't pound it too much. He doesn't pound it like you're going to unfollow him. Okay. And I do unfollow people all the time if there's a lot of crap in there. Give some of your secret sauce. There's younger loan officers on here, Kevin, that would love to be where you are. And then there's way older ones like a Mike Ullman, super crusty, that like to get some takeaways as well.
Ullman, what a guy Ullman is. Love his loan sizes though. Man, I think for me, I think the first thing is like just waking up every day, realizing like what an opportunity you have as a loan officer. I mean, where else can you go make the money that we make and have the flexibility that we have and to not really have a boss, So I think, just starting your day in the right mindset is huge. And I really think, after you've done this 2 or 3 years and you've closed a couple hundred loans, I mean, this business isn't that hard. And we're making more money than surgeons, and guess what? Surgeons and doctors, they have to be on call. And I think that's one of the things that shocks me the most is people are like, oh, I want to take my volume to the next level, but they're not willing to work the weekend, Luckily, I've built my team now where we actually alternate weekend coverage. I have some good guys on my team that can hold everything down. But last weekend, I mean, Saturday, I worked 8 a.m. to about 9:30 p.m., nonstop phones, call sheets, pre-approval. So I think, making yourself available is huge. That's absolutely huge. And then really just going above and beyond. I mean, it's such a simple thing. And people come to me all the time and say, what's your secret? And the funny thing is there's not a secret. I fucking work hard every day. I work hard every day and I'm competitive. But as far as like, I guess, tactical things rather than generalities, Alex Rivera, a good friend of mine and a colleague at Movement early on in my career, told me the most visible person in the market will do the most business. So I've kind of applied those principles. So how are you visible to your target market? And if you're a purchase loan officer, your target market's real estate agents for the most part, right? So what are you doing on social to be in front of those people? And you don't want to be the LO that's sliding up in the DMs or Facebook messaging saying, hey, let's get coffee, an agent's not going to respond to that. And I know Joel coaches all around that. It's like, how do you put your stuff out there, put it out there and attract the right people? And that's luckily what's happened to us is we're starting to attract agents that are coming to us now. So Facebook, we do a weekly video, pretty simple. Every Friday we put out a video, we pre-record it in advance, find a nice video editor that will chop it up for you. And I recommend sitting down for an hour or two and recording 10, 15 videos so you have it all pre-built, ready to go, because we're all busy right now. So if you try to plan on recording a video on Thursday to roll out Friday and you get busy on Thursday, it's not going to happen. So it's like,
what? Hey, Kevin, hold that thought for 1 second. I just want to throw in, this is what all great loan officers and teams do. No one is doing that stuff on the fly. What he just said is huge. Please make sure you write that down. This applies, by the way, to all marketing you do. You should have your plan. If you know you're sending something once a month, even for 12 months, there's no reason you can't do it all. So you have 12 sitting on a desk somewhere. Sorry, Kevin, go ahead.
No, you're good. So that was one of our main calling cards, is just a weekly video. And it's not getting the same traction as it used to with likes, comments, and shares. And I actually stopped doing the video kind of when COVID hit, because I was getting frustrated because the engagement wasn't that high. And then I realized I was thinking about it wrong, because the goal of, the video and the marketing you're putting out is top of mind awareness. You're not always going to get all the likes, the comments, and everything, but the viewers will be watching, and it will be hitting your target market. Make sure you're adding all your real estate agents in your marketplace on Facebook. That's kind of what we did. And then once we started to reach out for coffee meetings or drinks or whatever, the agents would be like, I feel like I know you because I've seen so many of your videos. So it's like, we use kind of a lot of mass marketing that helped us when we were new. And then I think the biggest thing is like, what value are you going to add to the real estate agent? You got to know what your competitors are doing in the marketplace. How are you going to add more value? And that's the one thing I'm constantly focused on. It's assumed that you're going to close on time and do your job. If you're not going to do that, you're not going to grow your business. So assuming that, what else are you doing that differentiates yourself from your competition? And it's like, I always try to come up with a list that, okay, I do this different than my competition. I do this, this, and this. Once you build up that list and you sit down with an agent, it's so easy to win them over because you're doing so much more than everyone else. So I feel like you've got to be in tune with what your competitors are doing and figuring out what your value proposition is going to be. At Movement, what catapulted us at first was just upfront underwriting and quick closes. It was unheard of in Pittsburgh. But guess what? Competition's caught up to that now. No one really gives a shit about upfront underwriting anymore for the most part. No one cares about a 15 to 20 day close anymore. Everybody can do that. So now we've had to shift our business. Like, now what do we do, right? And you constantly have to be evolving that list, in my opinion, to gain more referrals.
And some of this stuff Kevin's talking about, he's being a little coy, because the reality of it is Kevin is not a banners and plate spinning guy. What Kevin's doing is creating the opportunity for him to get in front of somebody, and then when he's in front, trust me, he's not wrapping them in tinsel with all of the things he can do. He's showing them, if they're interested, that's great, but he's using it to start a relationship, because when the relationship is there, yeah, some of them care about some of that stuff, but the reality of it is they care more about working together in partnership, especially in this kind of market. And Kevin, me at my advanced age of 34 has never seen a market more poised for loan officers to establish just how important we are than right now. Meaning, real estate agents need great loan officers, great lenders, great mortgage companies more than they ever have. Because if you're writing an offer, or you're sending in a bogus pre-qual, whatever letter you call it in your market, it doesn't matter. There's no more, wishy-washy, whatever. Either your person is good to go, which means they're docked out and good, or they're not. And they're probably not going to get it anyway, even if they're docked out. So they better at least be docked out. For years, Kevin, we were talking about this, I think last week with Mike Holman. I talk about this all the time. You know those calls, Kevin, you get at 5:45 on Friday where your lovely significant other is like, hey, Kevin, the margaritas are getting warm. The ice is melting. And you get the 5:45 call. And by the way, everybody, Kevin says team, but Kevin's taking that call, right? And he's on the phone with the agent. Hey, Kevin, I'm taking these people out, and I'm going to show them this house, and I need this pre-qual right now. Okay, just like what happens to all of us. The reality of it is that agent probably knew they were taking those people out on like Tuesday. Okay, they just waited till Friday at 5:45. This is a unique market where we can really teach our partners and coach them up how to use us better. And the bottom line is if Kevin's talking to that person on Tuesday at afternoon, it's not a quickie. Well, maybe it's a docked buyer. They're done. And so I wanted to clarify that point. A lot of times people hear units like Kevin's units, and they hear a guy like that say team. I want you all to know, because I know this, there's not people coming on my call that I don't know. He's taking these calls, just like some of these other guerrilla loan officers at other companies where you think they have these big teams doing all their work. Kevin is not a person that has loan officers putting loans in his name. He knows the last name of every person in his pipeline. Okay, so I wanted to make sure you all clarify that. lot of times when you hear units and then you hear team, you check out thinking, oh, this is a cheating branch manager putting stuff in his name. That is not the case at all. Kevin, you said the word at the beginning, you said mindset. And I don't know if you said the word blessed, but I wrote down blessed. And man, I feel the same way. I don't think I've ever seen a market like this, and I've seen a couple of markets. Wow, what a great time. You know, I was just telling Spencer Lynn this, who's got his camera on, who's a stone cold rookie, who just figured out that there was T in the word mortgage down here in DC Metro. And I said, man, you couldn't have picked a better time to want to be a loan officer and learn how to do it the right way, because you're going to kill it later. Kevin, are you seeing loan officers starting to come out now that have been, you know, literally just doing refis as the refis slow up? Are they starting to come out a little more or not yet? You're not seeing them yet?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen it. You know, I've seen some names popping up I haven't seen before, and I hope the market contracts. Honestly, I hope rates go up because it'll be an opportunity to take over more market share, because the refi people that are doing 2, 3, 4 purchases a month will be out of the game. But Joel, just for me, like, if I can break it down to like 2 things that I've done that has basically got me to where I am, is what you said earlier, having the solid pre-approval. I mean, my reputation in the marketplace is I'm going to do what I say and I close on time every time. And if I can't do it, it can't be done. Like, that is my reputation in the marketplace. When I call a listing agent, most of the time I know them, it helps get the offers accepted. So I think I see a lot of LOs, man, that won't put in the work. They'll fire out pre-quals and it's a 50-50 shot if it gets qualified. So I think one of the biggest things is just the quality of the pre-approval you put out. And then the second thing, like, this is your forte, is just the relationship. Like you said earlier, if you don't like and trust someone, they're not going to want to work with you. But you can have someone that you have a great relationship with, but if they know you're 50-50 pre-approval, they're not going to work with you, right? And if you have the most solid pre-approval in town, but the agent doesn't like you, you're not getting the business. So I think like those 2 items are so important to go hand in hand. So, and then it's like all the micro things that fall under that. So to like get the relationship, your top of mind marketing, mass marketing, videos, and eventually turns into a relationship. But what are you doing to make sure all your pre-approvals are solid? Like, don't be like that Quicken LO or the whatever LO that's just giving out a pre-qual to everyone. You're actually hurting our industry, because then all these idiot buyers think they can talk to someone in 5 minutes and have a good pre-approval. Like, do it the right way, build the relationships, and like, I don't know how you don't take it to the next level with those 2 things.
Yeah, no, those are huge, and those are just building block things. And you know, it's funny, Kevin, he said a whole lot in there. I don't want to pick it apart too much because I see what time it is, but you know, it doesn't matter if you have the relationship if you can't get the loan done. It's assumed you can get the loan done. The loan officers that do the most business have the relationships. Okay. They also have the highest hourly rate. They have the highest hourly rate because it's not taking them as long to build a relationship with their new buyer, because their agent partner is helping with that. It's not a go to Kevin, he's cool and he's a good loan officer. It's go to Kevin, he's my guy. His rates are never going to be the lowest. They're never going to be the highest. They're always going to be competitive. Whatever he says always happens. That's why all of my people use Kevin for their mortgage. That's a very different referral. Now, just so you people know, that takes a long time for that to happen. There's a lot of things that go into play, Kevin, just to use my terminology, to getting an agent to platoon, to getting Nick Bova status. It takes a long time to get someone into that status. By the way, people, that's an agent that actually I've interviewed. It's on he's on my podcast, but he's one of Kevin's platoon agents. Those of you that know my terminology, which means Kevin is deep with him. Kevin does all of the transactions with Nick that Nick has. So Kevin, mindset, real quick before I let you go. You talked about positive mindset, blessed. Are you, I know you're a workout guy. What are you doing? Are you getting up at like 5 o'clock in the morning? You doing it late at night? What are you doing to keep the endorphins pumping and keep your mind right?
Yeah, I normally wake up at about 5 and at the gym by 5:30 or 6. And I'm not a huge like weights guy, but just like I hop on that stair stepper, man, and I'll hit that 15 to 30 minutes to about a half hour of weights to keep my dad bod in check. And man, if I don't do that in the morning, like I'm always like seconds from telling somebody to F off. So I feel like in our industry and the challenges and battles that we face on a day-to-day basis, like you got to do something, whether it's meditating or reading something. I mean, you got to get your mind right before you start the day. So that's kind of what's worked for me.
By the way, did you hear Kevin say dad bod? That's an inside joke, or only a joke for people that know him. Because when Kevin was branding himself, he was basically branding himself like he was a 45-year-old dad with like a 3-pack in the back of a Suburban, cruising around Pittsburgh. But he was a 25-year-old loan officer, like the exact opposite of that. But it was awesome because it made you laugh. It made you chuckle. And of course, some of us chuckled at you saying dad bod, Kevin, but most people that just went right over their head because they don't even understand the joke because you're 28 years old, you know what I mean? 29 years old.
I'm just trying to like keep my Mike Allman bod in check a little bit. So
there you go. You're keep your Allmanitis going. So everyone, Kevin, I encourage you to follow him on social media. He has a great Instagram. It'll probably give you some good ideas. He's obviously on Facebook as well. Kevin is a super nice guy. Those of you that haven't seen his podcast with me, this is a 20-minute talk. We have an hour podcast actually at bigJOEL.com if you want to watch it, where we go pretty deep into a lot of stuff Kevin's doing. And he's not doing anything different today than he was when we recorded that podcast. He's just doing way more loans from doing all those activities. So it's a great podcast. Kevin, I just want to check the chat real quick and just see if there's anything in here before we let you go. Nothing, no questions. If anyone has any questions, you please put them in the chat. Again, I just wanted to what's your Instagram, Kevin? You want to type it in there and let everyone know? Josh will put it in for you.
Yeah, I'll type it in now.
Okay, he's putting it in there, Vinny, for his Instagram. Kevin, time to become a Steelers fan, dude. You don't know Kevin. He's never going to the dark side.
The Steelers are my number 2. They're my number 2.
Yeah. But you don't call the KO team when it's in the middle of a Buffalo Bills game. That is the one time you will have to wait a couple minutes for your prequel. I can tell you that. He bleeds the Buffalo blue. Are there any, Josh? I'm looking to see if there's any questions in here. Just give me 1 second, Kevin. I'm like a rookie here looking at this crap chat. Kevin, time to become a Steelers fan. Great tip on removing mortgage contingency. What was his unit count for 2020? He said that at the beginning. I think it was like 550 or something like that, right, Kevin, for 2020?
Yeah, it was around there.
Yeah, it was around 550 and very high percentage of purchase loans. So everybody, we danced around it. You've heard me for the past 6 to 8 weeks going on and on about BICs, about butts and cars, about docking files, about refis, dock, lock, and schedule. You've heard me just brutalizing on only submitting complete files. So you can then turn around and really go deeper on those relationships with your agents. You just heard Kevin hit that again. And by the way I roll, those of you that know me, we don't do any prep before these calls. I don't want to do prep. I want Kevin to say what's on his mind. So I didn't ask him to say any of the things he said, but he went right there basically without going there on really doing a good job up front and docking the crap out of these people. And let me tell you, the other piece that a lot of you all aren't great at that you need to get better at is Kevin's good at the C, which means control. He's good at controlling his agent partners and not letting them go crazy and do crazy stuff because they trust him. Hey, stop. You can't put those people in a car. That guy's a plumber. He owns half the business. I have none of his information. You can't do it. Yeah, but Wells Fargo said, or this, that, and the other. No, stop. And he is not scared to let them go to another lender rather than take a piece of crap, give a piece of crap letter, and then battle it out later. And that's a big lesson right there. And a lot of y'all be thinking, oh, of course he's not scared because he's doing so many loans. Nope, he wasn't scared when he was doing 5 loans a month. Okay. and you can't be scared. Kevin, any final words? I just want to say thank you. We really appreciate it. This group has gotten awesome over the year. I started it right at the beginning of COVID last year, and we were going to go to twice a month, and everyone sent me emails. No, we love it weekly. So we try to keep it to a half hour. But any closing thoughts for everyone? Thank you again for your time. We appreciate it.
Yeah, Joel, I guess I'll leave everyone with, I mean, I took Joel's course personally, and Joel is probably the best mortgage coach that's out there. Everything he's saying is spot on. I mean, myself, Hung Lee, Garrett Locklear, I mean, people use his stuff consistently to this day. So if you are serious about building your business, Joel has created monsters. Joel has contributed a ton to my business and how I operate on a day-to-day level. So follow the Joel plan, and it will work wonders and do everything he says, because he is spot on. And Joel, you're the man. I appreciate it.
Thanks for the kind words. Those were not solicited, but I always appreciate it. Thank you so much, everybody. BigJOEL.com if you want to see Kevin's podcast. Kevin, have a great day. Thank you again, everyone. See you next Tuesday.